Hello and welcome back to my channel. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming at you with another unboxing video. I have been collecting printers. Now, to be fair, I did this unboxing when I shot the footage months ago. I just have not been able to get to doing this intro and editing this video. But today I am going to be unboxing and doing a few test prints of the VoxLab Aquila. This printer is actually really good. Now, when I was shopping around for it, I wanted to get an Ender 3 V2. I think that's what it was, an Ender 3, because everyone's talking about how great the Enders is or are and stuff like that. And I had an Ender 5. It was okay, it wasn't the best, but everyone that I heard that has an Ender 3 were like, you need to get an Ender 3. So I went shopping around to find an Ender 3 and actually ended up getting a VoxLab. Why? Well, for that very reason. Everyone has an Ender 3. Like, freaking everybody. So I wanted to get a printer that wasn't well known in the community and see what it can do. And ladies and gentlemen, this thing does not disappoint. Yeah, it's a little bit smaller than what I'm accustomed to, but that's perfect for doing little small time prints. Like if you go to my Etsy shop, I do these mushroom lamps that come from this printer and they come out extremely well. I've also done some Loki crowns on this thing. It is actually a very great printer, super reliable, and I'm going to be taking you through the steps of assembly, going through the specs, and showing you guys exactly what this printer can do. So stick around, we're going to have some fun, but of course, here's a little word from our sponsor, which, if you've been on my channel for a little while, sponsor is me. So take it away, me. Are you mesmerized by the rotating Blastoise that's sitting on your screen right now? Or perhaps you're one of the many people who chose Charmander as their very first starter. Or are you some of the people who chose Bulbasaur and ended up with a Venusaur? Or perhaps you're just a fan of all three. Whatever the case may be, you can always find something of interest on my Etsy shop, like this Green Ranger Chibi figurine. Look at that. Or maybe you're a fan of the Red Ranger. Just look at those details. Or if you're into Pokemon like I am, maybe you might be into this articulated Steelix. Go pick one up. Go make your friends jealous. Or stick to the original Kanto line like this Onyx, fully articulated, waiting for you to go buy it. Whatever the case, there's always something for everybody on my Etsy shop, so go pick something out and help support the channel. Or if that doesn't tickle your fancy, you can go ahead and pre-order my comic book, The Super 6. Pre-order bonuses is wide open and you get this exclusive overcharged cover. Pre-orders end June 3rd and the book launches June 17th, so go ahead and get that. Or you can go ahead and check out my Patreon. For $3 a month, you can say thank you, or for $20 a month, you'll get a very special loot box full of random prints that you might have seen in my store, or maybe might be something I haven't really printed yet. Who knows? Whatever the case may be, this will help support the channel. So go ahead and check out any of those things. I'm not a sponsored YouTuber, guys, but I do have a lot of things and ways that you can help support the channel. So go ahead and check out what I have to offer, and I hope you guys do help your boy out. Now, back to the video. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into opening up this thing and seeing what it takes to put it together while I give you guys the lowdown on the specs and what is this thing actually capable of, and some of the things that I personally liked and some of the things that I kind of didn't like coming out of the box. So let's get right into it. Well, while I'm putting together this printer, I figured I will go ahead and take you guys to VoxLab's website to check out the specs on the VoxLab Aquila FDM 3D printer. Now, this thing is fairly cheap. Like I said, $159.99 to $319 is not bad. But, you know, people are saying that this is a knockoff of the Ender 3, which, yeah, it is. But, you know, Creality is the leading with FDM as of now. I think Anycubic is a bit better, but you know, try something new with this printer. It's actually fairly good printer. So let's run through the specs while I am busy at work putting this printer together. This thing, I wouldn't consider it a large build volume, but considering where 3D printing came from to where it is now, yeah, 220 by 220 by 250 is pretty big. You're looking at about a foot by a foot by almost a foot and 2 inches roughly. So it's pretty big. It was enough to fit a lot of the prints that I did, so I'm not really complaining about it. There's also built with an aluminum body, which that's pretty much standard with a lot of these printer. 32-bit silent motherboard. Yeah, this thing is not as silent as you would think. It's actually fairly loud, but compared to my Net A8, yeah, it's kind of silent because you can barely hear it when that thing's on. So yeah, 4.3-inch color screen. I like the screen. The screen is actually very easy to use, and it works fairly well, so I have no complaints about that. It says open source design, so you can probably update it, upgrade it with some extra parts if you want to do that. I normally don't do that. Right out of the box is a-okay with me. My Net A8, I did build that out of the box, and I did upgrade that because it was upgradable. So not that I don't like to do it, I just prefer not to, but if I have to do it, I will. Filament auto feeding. This is my favorite feature right here. This thing has an auto feeding and auto unload feature. So if you're having a tough time trying to load in filament, this thing loads it in and loads it out for you, and it never misses. And I think that's pretty cool because I've had times where I'm trying to feed a direct drive into some filament into a direct drive, and it does not want to get there. I don't know what it is. You have to aim it, you have to uncurve the filament, you have to cut the filament at a 45-degree angle, you have to do all the stuff before the filament is actually in the nozzle, and that's kind of annoying. This thing does it for you, and I use it religiously when it comes to changing out filament on this thing, and it never fails. That is my favorite thing about this printer. Kid you not. Software supported, Cura Simplified 3D. Like I said, I use Simplified 3D, and apparently VoxLab has its own slicer, Voxel Maker. I am not too keen on using manufacturers' own slicing programs because they suck. So either Cura or Simplified 3D, that'll be good enough for me. This thing can use PLA, ABS, PETG, and a VoxLab PLA Pro filament. I have never seen that before. I'm going to have to go and check that out. Oh, okay. And that's pretty much it. Most of the stuff is, you can go and read it if you want. It does have a BL Touch support feature if you want to attach it on there. That's up to you. I personally am kind of moving away from the BL Touch since I got my new Cobra Max, which has a very LeviQ leveling system, which is, in my opinion, unparalleled to anything that is out there. Correct me if I'm wrong. So this is the website. This thing has a lot of cool stuff, and it also has this, another thing that I like are these belt tighteners. Now this is the first printer that I gotten where it has these belt tensioners on it. So if your belt is a little bit too loose or too tight, you can just go right here and unscrew that or tighten it, whichever one you want. That's pretty cool. I got it on my Cobra and I pointed it out in my past video, but this is actually the first printer that I got that has this feature. Instead of having to go back in and trying to untighten the belt yourself, this thing does it for you, and I think that is really cool. And that's it for this printer. These are all the specs of this printer, and everything looks pretty good in terms of the quality that I have printed so far on this printer. Who printed this, Mary Jane? I don't think that came out like that. Yeah, no way. That's good detail. I'm pretty sure that's resin. But yeah, check out VoxLab Aquila. The link will be in the description. Let's see if I'm finished building up this printer now. And as you see, I still have a little bit more to go, but if you're worried about assembly of anything in this printer, it's actually very straightforward. There's nothing to really worry about. Whenever these manufacturers actually pack up these printers and you have to put it together, a lot of the instructions are very straightforward. So it may take you a while, it may take you about an hour or two. This one took me about an hour and a half to put together, but it worked right out of the box. All you really had to do was level it and do some of the test prints that came on this thing. And like these things, the test prints, like I said in my previous videos, like with the Cobra, the test prints come out immaculate. These things are great. And I wish that the manufacturers actually shared with you their print settings so you can kind of go ahead and do it yourself. Now, just like the Cobra Max, this one actually does come with a Cura profile that you can import into Cura to get the level of prints that do come with the test prints. I will give them that. Like I said before, I don't like using Cura. I am not a fan of using Cura, so I went ahead and dialed in the settings on Simplified 3D, and so far it has worked very well since I've done that. So yeah, take with it what you will. If you're a Cura user, great. You got a huge learning curve in terms of the settings that come with the printer. If you're not, then you're gonna have to play around with it like I did in order to get these immaculate prints that I've been able to print. This thing does have a stringing issue. It strings a lot. And I don't know if that's necessarily the printer or if it's user error. I'm pretty sure it's user error because after I finished tweaking out the settings, some of the stringy went away. It does come back every now and again, but for the most part, it's pretty solid in terms of not having a string anymore. So this assembly is actually fairly simple. It's easy. You don't have to really do much to it. Just make sure you have a large enough space to unload everything in your box, and make sure you don't forget anything. Make sure you do have all your tools, and read the instructions before you turn this thing on. That's just a personal pet peeve of mine. Read the instructions. I don't read the instructions and I end up messing up things before I actually have to use it. So, save yourself a headache. Don't do what I've done in the past. Read the instructions and you should turn out everything a-okay. So that is it. This thing is ready to go. Let's go into Simplified 3D and see what it is I'm going to be printing first. Here we are in Simplified 3D. I have just downloaded this Red Hood bust and this base from Eastman's Patreon. I don't really know his real name, but his name is Eastman. Here's his Patreon page if you guys are in a highly detailed bust that you can both not only resin print, but FDM print. He makes it super easy for you guys to do it. So I would go check him out, subscribe to his Patreon, hashtag not sponsored. So this is how I have the orientation of this Red Hood bust. There are no supports on this thing. None whatsoever. I just threw it on here and gonna let it print. So let's go to slice it. This is why I love Simplified 3D so much. It's faster than Cura when it comes to slicing, and I have no regrets for paying that $150. I would highly recommend it, folks. So altogether, this thing is going to take 16.5 hours to print. That's not bad, and they're only using 0.2 kilograms of a roll of filament to print this awesome bust. So let's throw it onto the printer and let's see what this Aquila can do. So this thing has been printing for a good 12 hours already, and look at how this thing looks. It looks good. There's a little stringing in there, but you know what? For what it is, I'm actually fairly satisfied with it.
All right, let's. Yeah, I already peeled it off. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys, but yeah, this thing looks amazing. There's a little bit of some roughness, probably some minor stringing, but nothing a little bit of sandpaper can't have. Excuse the noise, my Net A8 is still going over here. It's kind of loud. Let's probably update that motherboard. But these things, wow, I'm fairly impressed.
When it's all said and done, you got this really awesome Red Hood bust that you could just place on your desk. Look at how awesome that looks. I'm super stoked about this, and I can't wait to do more of these Eastman busts. Go check out his Patreon, guys. It is really something, and it's worth it in my opinion. And that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I highly recommend getting one of these VoxLab Aquila. VoxLab isn't well known of a 3D printer manufacturer. Usually you have the big three, which is Creality, Anycubic, and then Elegoo, but there are some not well-known manufacturers out there, and I think VoxLab is one of those manufacturers out there. They also do a great job with resin. They do a great job with resin printers, though I haven't gotten a VoxLab resin printer. That's probably on my to-do list to get my hands on one of them and see how well they pair up to the Elegoo and the Anycubic printer that I have. But as you can see, this Red Hood bust came out freaking awesome, and I'm going to be doing a Damian Wayne one. So if you don't follow me on social media, do so right now. Links are in the description, as well as subscribe to the channel and like the video, comment if you have any questions, let me know. I'm trying to be as active as I can in this community, and so far, you guys have been great. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, follow me on all of my social media platforms, and let's get to talking about cool stuff like this, because this is what I live for. Half of my life, actually a good 90% of my life is 3D printing now, and it is a really bad, good habit to have. So until next time, folks, let me know in the comments how you like this printer, and if you want to see something in particular, I can probably do that for you. I do have my Power Axe video build coming soon. I just printed off the last remaining parts. I haven't been able to get to actually putting that together, but all the parts are done, so be on the lookout for that video. And no, the best way to be on the lookout for that video is hitting that subscribe button. Yes, I said it twice. Anyways, folks, I will see you guys next time, and take care of yourself and print something cool. See ya.